Hey, gang, for the benefit of those who are watching on YouTube, you can see that I'm holding in my hand Joe Manchin's memoir. He was just my guest on both POTUS as well as on SiriusXM. Please listen to the book club podcast of my interview with Joe Manchin. But I remembered a conversation from the book, and I just found it, and it's a good place to start today. Senator Manchin writes, during the 117th Congress, with the Senate evenly split 50-50, Chuck Schumer attempted to cram every progressive wish list item into a reconciliation bill so that it could bypass the 60-vote requirement and pass with a simple majority. His strategy was to force as much policy as possible into the bill and then pressure my colleagues and me into going along with it. But the parliamentarian ruled that many of these provisions did not qualify under the Byrd rule. Rather than respect the ruling, Senate Democrats attempted to override the parliamentarian's decision, but my vote denied the 51 votes they needed. In other words, Senator Manchin voted against killing the filibuster. Quote, the nuclear option is always lurking in the background. If a party has 51 senators willing to eliminate the filibuster entirely, they can and will do it. That is the danger we face, and that is why I've spent so much time and energy defending the integrity of the Senate and its rules. There's more to it, but it's so timely because relative to today's Friday poll question at Smerconish.com, President Trump, now back in the United States, is saying that it's time to kill the filibuster. It's time to kill the filibuster. We'll see what happens. I'm asking, as the poll question today, which factor will exert the most pressure to reopen the government? And I give you a number of choices. SNAP benefits, meaning the SNAP benefits that are now ending. Open enrollment meaning that which is just beginning. The elections on Tuesday, will that light a fire under either side? Pressure from federal employees. I'm candidly shocked that we're now 31 days into this, and the TSA are all still showing up, or none of the above. It'll just continue on. And in that context, President Trump is saying, that's it, kill the filibuster, and we Republicans alone can then reopen the government. Thank you, Parks Casino, the #1 casino in Pennsylvania, my casino of choice. They've got it all. Such great opportunities for mingling. Entertainment at the Excite Center, sing-along brunches, Latin dance nights, country line dancing, comedy night, happy hour in the Liberty Bell Beer Garden, plus the watch parties in the Bamboo Noodle House and in the sports book. Fun stuff. And check this out. Sunday, you can do this on Sunday, 12 noon, and then every Monday at 6 p.m., in the sports book, the ultimate fan experience, $1 hot dogs, $3 Miller Lights, $5 Peronis, and wall-to-wall action on the 150-foot giant sports book screens. Great entertainment coming to the Excite Center, and I will be at Parks next Wednesday night for the sold-out stories and cigars with Smerconish. You got to be 21. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Yesterday, 25,654 voted on the Thursday poll question. We had a great conversation about this. Is AI coming for your job? You're all capitalized. 25,654 voted. 69.34% said no. And my guest yesterday, the AI expert, said that is hilarious. And why did he say it's hilarious? Because he thinks, although he backed off a little bit on this, that in 5 years we will be at 99% unemployment. Such will be the impact of artificial intelligence. Why did I want to get into this yesterday? Because there were a string of headlines in the last couple of weeks suggesting that like AI is here and now. It's not 5 years in the future in terms of the havoc being wreaked on particularly white-collar jobs. The Times said that Amazon is on the cusp of replacing more than 500,000 warehouse jobs with robots, and they plan to automate 75% of their operations. Then the Times followed up with the story days later that said that, and Amazon is going to cut 14,000 corporate jobs. The Wall Street Journal then had a story and said that UPS is cutting 48,000 jobs. I could go on and on and on. So Roman Yampolsky, who is a tenured AI expert at the University of Louisville, who's written over 100 publications on AI safety. He was our guest. He caught my eye because he'd been quoted in Fortune and I think as well at Forbes saying that within the next 5 years, 99% are going to face unemployment. And it was a really good conversation. And people called in yesterday and I asked, how secure is your job? And I also said that I didn't want to vote until after I listened to the expert. After I listened to the expert, I voted and said that, yeah, I'm on that list as well. Because my voice can be replicated, my commentaries can be written. Artificial intelligence can create a video that you'd have a hard time deciding whether it's really me. So I'm not exempt. By the way, there's a story today at Axios. It appeared too late to be in today's newsletter, but we'll probably make the cut for tomorrow. And it's Mike Allen and Jim Vandehei. And Jim Vandehei is going to be on my CNN program tomorrow, talking about the future of the Democratic Party and talking about how the future of the Democratic Party might be more socialist and anti-AI. Or as they begin, two unfolding forces will shape significantly the short-term future of the Democratic Party. The popularity of socialist candidates and ideas, especially among grassroots Democrats, and AI increasing energy costs, joblessness, and inequality. The future was captured vividly last Sunday in New York when Bernie Sanders, AOC, and Zohran Mamdani electrified a jam-packed stadium in Queens for a mayoral race. So, and by the way, to Republicans, that's great news. Terrific. The Democrats are going to be socialists and not even democratic socialists. But I thought the more interesting part was to say that Democrats perceive an opportunity to seize on AI and to talk about the perils of artificial intelligence. Okay, the Friday poll question. So yeah, it's day 31. I have it in my notes. It's day 31. The government is still closed. And by the way, it's going to remain closed through the weekend because the Senate adjourned. The Senate adjourned yesterday, Thursday, won't meet again until Monday. So we know the shutdown is going to run till at least day 34. It seems like there are a number of things that are being said behind closed doors that could lead to resolution. The president is home. That's another, big aspect of this. And on Truth Social, it's a long post. Quote, "It is now time for Republicans to play their Trump card and go for what's called the nuclear option. Get rid of the filibuster. Get rid of it now. Just a short while ago, the Democrats, while in power, fought for 3 years to do this, but were unable to pull it off because Joe Manchin and Kirsten Sinema. And then Trump finally says, well, now we are in power. And if we did what we should be doing, it would be immediately ending this ridiculous shutdown. I want to do it in order to take advantage of the Democrats." So, president threatening the filibuster, Senate has adjourned. What else can I tell you in terms of an update about the government shutdown? New polling has come out. More Americans, this is ABC and Washington Post, blame Trump and the Republicans in Congress than Democrats for the shutdown. 45% say Trump and the GOP are responsible. 33% say Dems. That's barely a shift from the most recent poll on this. Twice as many independents blame Trump and Republicans as blame Democrats. It's kind of interesting to me because I guess the perception is one of Republicans control both houses and the White House, so surely the shutdown must be their fault. I don't think it's that simple. I personally blame Democrats more than I blame Republicans because there's a clean continuing resolution of the sort that Democrats have supported in the past, but they're not supporting it here. At the same time, I think there's merit in the Democrats' complaints about the Affordable Care Act, as evidenced by the phone calls that I had yesterday with people saying they've been notified as to their insurance premium increase. The Washington Post says, don't do it piecemeal, just reopen the government. Quote, "The right answer is to reopen the government with a clean funding bill, ideally for a full year." Yeah, so let's not go through this again anytime soon. Get food stamps flowing, federal workers back in the office, and then have a debate about the ACA subsidies. That's exactly my view. Pain is about to be felt by a lot of Americans on this score. I wrote a commentary that I'm looking forward to delivering on CNN tomorrow. And I may revise it, and who knows what the news cycle will bring today. But the way that I wrote it, I'm going to begin with a Dylan lyric. How does it feel? Maybe I'll even sing it. How does it feel? Yeah, how does it feel? I'm Michael Smerconish in the Philly Burbs. Bob Dylan asked that question in Like a Rolling Stone. And after nearly a month of government shutdown, millions of Americans are about to find out. Right, because up until now, for most of us, I mean, some people are really in pain, but for many of us, it's the stuff of headlines while we go on with our lives. But there's a great Market Watch story that I have in today's newsletter that talks about how now things are changing. Yeah, I'll give you just a couple of bullet points. So today is a military payday. Says Market Watch, it's possible that U.S. troops could miss out on paychecks on Friday. Analysts have been expecting the Trump administration to find some way to pay them like they did on their earlier payday of October 15, even as the legality of that move was questioned. So it's payday. Secondly, November 1st, which is Sunday, is key for Obamacare and SNAP. The end of subsidies for plans bought under the Affordable Care Act, known as the ACA or Obamacare, will become more apparent Saturday as open enrollment begins for those plans though higher premiums won't kick in until December 31st. And then you've also got the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program benefits, food stamps, if you will, running out on Saturday. The election is on Tuesday. Voters in New Jersey, big gubernatorial race. Voters in Virginia, big gubernatorial race. Prop 50 in California, though it seems like it's over. And the New York City mayoral race. Everybody's going to want to read into those results, what it means for Trump and the Republicans. And then you've got the president being back in town. And you've also got a union for federal workers that has a lot of sway over Democratic lawmakers bringing their pressure to bear for a reopening. So the confluence of all of these factors has caused me to ask in the poll question today, which of them is going to break the dam? Which factor will exert the most pressure to reopen the government? Is it the SNAP benefits, the food stamps, open enrollment, meaning health care, Tuesday's election, federal employee pressure, or none of the above? I think that the strongest card that the Democrats have is open enrollment and the escalating insurance premiums as people this weekend and in the next couple of days are going to get notification of how much more their health care is going to cost. Whether it breaks this, I hope it does, but I don't know. I just don't know. My vote is for open enrollment. Maybe I should have said insurance, but everybody I think will know what I'm talking about. Okay, gang, go vote. By the way, go vote, and check out in the newsletter today. The newsletter looks great. One story, I just want to mention this and say happy Halloween. One story gets the purple box treatment today. I love when we have a purple box story because that's a mingle-related story. It occurs to me that one of the greatest mingles of all time, one of the greatest mingle opportunities of all time is today, Halloween. And there's a purple box story from The Atlantic. The Atlantic published this in 2018, and now they're republishing it, and so am I. It seems like it's not so much that trick-or-treating is in decline as it is changing. And that gone are the days, and there couldn't be a subject more mingled than this. Gone are the days when you knew your neighbors and you worked the streets. I mean, primarily it's been a suburban phenomena, never a huge thing in the sticks nor in urban areas, but in suburbia where I grew up and where many of you grew up, it was like an important night and we looked forward to it and you knew everybody and people. I know I'm the old codger. I'm getting used to it, but it's true. People on my block growing up knew the kids. And so if kids came to the door, you had a reasonable chance. I'm going to talk about this on air today. I can't wait to do it. I cannot wait to do it with an expert on trick-or-treating. Yes, we found one. But there was a reasonable chance that the neighbors could figure out who the kids were. Like, oh, is that you, Billy? You know, it seems like, more and more now, trick-or-treating is moving from a residential proposition to a retail thing, or through organized trunk and treats. You show up and everybody opens up the trunk of their car and you go around in a very confined area. Totally, totally different than my own personal experience. So yeah. Really, Jamal? They all still know everybody? Good for you. I mean, that's a good block. That is a good block. Love it. Yeah, love it. Okay. Anyway, I want to talk about trick-or-treating. Happy Halloween. Hey, if tonight is Halloween, I guess that means that last night was Mischief night. Last night was Mischief night. Today, you'd be afraid of being shot, right? I remember soaping. I remember soaping a guy's sidewalk in my neighborhood, and he caught me. He caught me. I soaped his sidewalk, and he made me scrub it off. Like, as I think about that, that is just ridiculous. Do you remember? I mean, soaping. Quick show for our live YouTube audience. How many soaped? Yeah, I know. No, Carrie, that's why it's stupid. I'm saying I remember soaping a sidewalk and getting caught. How many soaped windows? Quick, yay or nay? How many soaped windows on Mischief night as a kid? Mixed. Some. Yeah, okay. Some not. I'd say it's like 50-50. I'd say it's like 50-50. Our misspent youth. Have a wonderful day. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please watch Mingle episode number 6 with Dr. Charles Murray, Coming Apart. Mingle episode number 7 is coming next week with a great, great guest. How many will there be? I don't know. When I feel like I've told the story of societal disconnect, then maybe I'll stop. But I'm not close. I'm not close. I'll see you on radio.